Hello, welcome everybody. Please bear with me for a moment as I check that you can hear and see me. I am also still getting used to the changes Facebook has made. So let's see if we can hear. Yep, perfect. All right, I should be able to see any of your live comments on my other device here. And I would love to welcome you beautiful people. I am Deb K, and this is Live Guidance Ask Me Anything. So today this is a live guidance session with God and my higher self, and like I said, you can ask me anything, and at the end of the live I'll share with you some upcoming programs, ways to work with me, and you can always find links in the post above. If you can't find what you're looking for, comment below or reach out to me with a direct message and I can help get you on the right track. So as you're joining, whether you're live or on replay, I would love for you to drop a hello in the comments and let me know just where you're tuning in from. I love seeing all your places all over the world where you're at and viewing from. I am currently here in a very gorgeous New England day, and I'd love for you to, if you are getting value from anything I do, please do share my page, share my group, all those good things. All of my videos are organized into playlists and guides, so it should be fairly easy to find them and always available to watch on replay. So let's go. A little bit about me. I am Deb K, and I am here to help you magnetize your magnificence. I'm I'm an evolved divine change maker and believe accredited practitioner, a 5th dimension earth certified healer, a spectrum practitioner, and that's all a lot of alphabet soup for those of you who don't really know, but I am here as your leading edge physical guide and healer, and I'm here to help and support you as you're ready to transform and ready for your very own true beautiful magnificence. So what I'm going to share today may be different to what you currently understand, and that's okay. Just allow this to flow with you, feel the truth, let it settle inside of you, and always ask questions. If you don't understand a definition or what I'm talking about, or just have a question about yourself, please do ask. And I'd like to just give a little background on what is a higher self. So I've gone into great detail with my higher self series that you can find here on the page or in my group or on YouTube. And oops, can't see comments. Okay. And your higher self is pure love, pure energy. She is somebody that's been with you since your soul was created and is around helping you on an energetic level as you live this physical life. And we all have one. If you're male, you're going to have a male higher self. And if you're female, you'll have a female higher self. And we're connected energetically. We share a vibrational match in energy and frequency. So it is probably your higher self is the easiest non-physical energy to connect with. I have a higher self. I actually have two. It is a rare configuration, first of its kind, and it was very special as part of my soul contract and my purpose for being here on this earth in this physical life as me, Deb K. That's a whole other episode. I could talk about that for episode upon episode. But how do you receive? How do you receive from your higher self? There's so many different ways that you can receive. We are all designed differently and have all sorts of different capabilities and gifts that we are born with, that are in our soul when we are created with God and our higher self. And we can develop those. We can gain more as we energetically expand. But some of us will receive by seeing, some will receive by hearing, some will receive by knowing, some will receive even through smell. There are so many different ways to receive, and your higher self may play games with you if that's something that you really enjoy, or puzzles or something like that. Or through music, you'll feel really connected to a song that comes on the radio, and the words will resonate with you, and you'll find meaning in that. And that is a way that your higher self is connecting with you and helping you receive the information that they're trying to share with you. So I'm going to check really quick to see if we don't have any live questions yet, and that's okay. As you know, if you have watched any of the replays on the previous live guidance, Ask Me Anything, I have always have an activity that has been guided to me to share with you in the event that there aren't questions that are live. So what are we going to do today? Well, we are checking in on the potted garden plants from last time, and I was very guided that they are really wanting to share their energy and their updates with you, and there are more lessons from nature to be shared through this occurrence. So here we go. All right, where do we want to start? I don't recall which plants we started with last time. I think we're going to start with the basil though. So the basil, if you remember, it's several different varieties all in one pot. And you'll see this gap here. So just to recall for you, if you did not watch the last live guidance with the basil. So there was a basil in here that was choosing not to thrive, because we do all have free will. Now, when I'm talking about these plants, let's just use them as an analogy, as allegory for physical humans. So let this resonate with you. You may get some gardening tips along the way too, who knows? But they're living nature objects with nature energy, and we can learn so much. And you can relate what I'm sharing with you to yourself and to other physical humans that you are having experiences with. So there was a basil stalk in here, and it was choosing through free will not to thrive. And when I felt into the energy of that basil, it very much wanted to be separated from the rest. Now, part of that separation was to not drag down, so to speak, the rest of the plants in this pot that are thriving. But the other part that I was feeling was in my being, in my soul design, I love life in all forms, and the chance to have preservation of life, to turn things around, to reconcile the irreconcilable, and basically, in human speak, second chances, I suppose, is a good way to put it. So in helping the basil separate itself from the other plants that were thriving, as it was choosing to not thrive, I felt a great energy around trying to help the plant change and choose love, not fear, because that is what all of the emotions come down to. It's like math with fractions. There's always a common denominator that you can take the fractions, and I can't remember the proper term, math, but when they reduce them down, when you reduce them down to the smallest number they can be, it's like that with emotions. So they either reduce down to fear emotions or love emotions. So let me share with you the basil that was separated. So the basil that was separated physically had cellular low vibration, which translated into some form of a plant illness or sickness. And although I had a strong desire to help that basil plant, the basil plant also needs to do its part and have a strong desire to help itself. So it's not a butting of heads, but for me it was more of an enablement to try to provide that environment and let that plant do what it needed to do, no matter what that option or choice was. So I nurtured the plant, I fed it. I'm going to grab it really quick. I fed it, it was repotted, it was watered, it was given sunshine and love. I did go away for a week, but it was looked after by some other people in my household. And what I came back to find was that this basil is really not well for this world, but that's okay. So it's dropped several of its leaves. It has brown spots. It's kind of hard to see in light, but you can see where the color changes. So there's something from its roots, from its core, and it's spreading. Now, I'm just going to allow this plant to transition peacefully back into the earth to where it came from. But with seeing that happen in front of your very own eyes, you can relate that to illness in your own body, to when your cells have low vibration and begin to not want to perform in what their true cellular form is, which is to live, which is to work with optimization for your physical body and do the job. They each have individual jobs and do the job that they are assigned to do. And when that happens, when they decide in some way that they're going to be stubborn or reluctant or just not work, you can see that in your physical body, that your outer physical body and other systems within your body just don't thrive the way they should. Now, when you're talking about emotions and vibration, high vibration, low vibration, the low vibration from the emotions of not feeling so good, feeling less than, feeling whatever it is that equates to fear ultimately, it almost is the same as that, for lack of a better term, that rotting within. So inside you're not feeling good, and you can have a mask on outside and look like you're doing okay, but eventually all of this inside catches up and you start to see it on the outside, and you start to wither, and you start to not live, and you start to lose hope and have a lack of hope, a lack of faith, a lack of trust, all of the lack, and you live in fear. So what do you do? What do you do then? You have a choice. You always have a choice. Now, I can choose to do more research and see if there's a way of helping save that plant, or I can choose to peacefully let it go. And that's another lesson from nature as well in the letting go. So sometimes we see, I believe I was speaking about the trees. Oh, we've got a bird coming to watch the live over there. But I believe I was speaking about trees in storms and how they will sometimes drop limbs that aren't serving them so that the rest of them can thrive. And it's the same with humans. Like, we have baggage, we have emotional baggage. And when we can learn to choose to let that go and have perspective around that experience, we can thrive. And so in comes the rosemary. So this is my wild rosemary plant. It was not this big when I purchased it at the farm market. It was probably more like, it's so great. I love it. It's really doing well, and it is very, very easy to care for. But it probably was only about as tall as below my fingers, if that. So what happens when you drop some of the baggage, the emotional baggage, or have a better perspective around it, is that you can thrive. with what's left. Let me lower that up just a touch. So here's your lesson today too, is that you can trim the rosemary and dry. This is right in my nose. Well, not literally, it's in front of it, but you can trim the rosemary and dry it and save it for later. So there's some green thumb tips for you as well. And what you want to do is look for the woody stalk, because this is a woody, what do they call it? I'm not a gardener, but I've seen them on TV. No, I'm just kidding. But these have a woody place, like down in the stem, and above that is the green new growth. And when you trim your rosemary properly, you can get it to grow more and bushier. And we'll have more on those lessons in a little bit with some of the other plants. So so what I'm going to do is just pick some of these ones that are pretty long and kind of straggling out, because where I have my rosemary growing, it is touching other plants. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's getting a little unruly in there in the jungle of potted plants. So basically you want to be above the wooded part and then just above some of the leaves and cut. And what you'll do with these sprigs of rosemary, you can use them fresh, but you can also save them for later. You just put them in a paper bag and let them dry out, and then you can have them all winter, and you've grown it. It's fresh from your own garden. Let's get this other guy over here. And don't want to do too much at once. Now, would this plant do well to get a brand new pot, a bigger pot? Absolutely. Do I want to do that yet? No. And why is that? Well, sometimes abrupt change happens and it's good. And sometimes abrupt change happens and it's good, but we don't recognize the goodness in it. We only recognize fear and trepidation in it. And if you get to the point where you are evolved, and there will be more on that filtering through all of my lives, whether they're live guidance or my video series that I do regularly during each week, you'll find that, what was I saying? You'll find that, change. So if you're evolved, you'll feel it as newness causing a wobble, and it throws you a little bit, but you recognize very quickly that this is going to be good. Like the other side of the change is going to be amazing. Now, if you're newer to energy and understanding emotions and things like that, you may feel this newness and this change as something a little more scary, maybe, like you're afraid of what the change will bring and how it will change your life, and will there be something permanent, and will it be good, will it be not good? And so when I actually work with other humans and clients, I can feel what's needed, but a lot of times the people that work with me are people who are a lot like I was. And I'm not one, I don't really like surprises. I like to kind of know and feel into the bigger picture. But sometimes we really need to learn to just trust and let go and understand that God and the universe and all of that has us. Really and truly, and that everything is always working out for our good. Whether it seems on the surface to be not good or to be good, it is always working out. It's that saying, like, everything's a lesson or a blessing. It truly is. And therefore, I like to help people ease into the change, even though the change and the transformation at the end of it is massive and exactly what they desired. They'll achieve it. Sometimes you need to slip in slowly. Like, it's the difference between sliding into a pool, dipping a toe in and going down the steps, or just cannonballing in, right? And so if I am, gardening lesson again, if I am trimming a plant for its health so it can thrive, I don't necessarily want to also repot it all at once, because that can cause some stress that may not be necessary or warranted for that plant. So just do another one here on that rosemary, and I will likely trim the rest of it later. But you can see how it's coming together. It's going to get bushier, and it's a little more in its own space for right now. Now we're gonna have a little, oh, I lost another leaf here. There we go. So we're gonna have a little break from the previous plants, because I have some aloe here that is newly, what do they, it's so cute. They call them aloe pups. When your mama aloe plant has little babies, they're called pups. And when they're ready, you can trim them off of the shooter stems. Is that right? The shooter roots. And then you let the exposed area of where the root should be, you let that callus up, and then you plant it, and they have been growing like gangbusters. So here's my little aloe pups, and you can see this one is really thriving. They're all thriving. So when I first got them, they looked very newborn, very raw almost, and now they are getting those typical little aloe bumps around the outside. And even down, if you can see down in the center, there's more leaves growing, and they're getting all thicker and sturdier and just full of life. So I'm really excited. These guys at some point will be transplanted into some bigger pots for themselves. So we'll keep up with them maybe on another week. Okay, so also I want to show you, I don't know if I can move them. I might have to move the camera. But I want to show you the tomato plants. So if you remember, I had 2 tomato plants. They were getting a little bit big, but not too big. And one of them started with some flowers. So let me see if I can grab these and bring them over, because you will be amazed what's happened in, I think, about 2 weeks. So what have we got? They're growing like gangbusters over here. And so this is just to help you recall what we did. So they were in a little pot like the aloe, with the little starter pot. Look at me in the jungle of tomato plants. But they were in a little starter pot, and it was time for them to move to a bigger pot. So I got them transferred over before I left on my trip, and this is what I came home to. It's absolutely amazing. Now, I am sure, like, if you can see this guy here. All right, so this one here, I have a garden stake to help support this stem. Sometimes we need support, and that's why there are people like me in the world who are live physical guides and healers here for you to help support you reach your magnificence and all of your goals, whether it be emotional or physical healing. So I was able to stake this up, and the one flower, this plant is magungus. Look at this. Look, it's still going. Look at that. Okay, I think we're near the top. So we've got one cherry tomato that started, and there are at least 2 more. Whoops. Uh-oh. Bear with. All right. It wouldn't be me if I didn't lose an earbud live on my feed, right? So there's at least 2 or 3 or 4 more flowers up there that are about to start growing little cherry tomatoes as well. Now, here's the second one. For some reason, I have no idea where all the rest of my garden stakes are, so I'm going to need to go to the local store and grab another stake for this guy. But for now, his buddy's been helping support him, leaning on him for support. And that's totally okay, because we all need a buddy, we all need a mentor, we all need somebody, a coach, a physical guide, a friend, somebody to help us through when we need a little extra support until we can be supported on our own. It's natural, it's normal. We are not meant to go through physical life all by ourselves and deal with everything all by ourselves. So let's see what we have here though. This one's just as tall and hardy and has, there's definitely a couple little flowers. I thought it was going to start growing a tomato, but it has not yet. And I'm looking at these leaves at the top and I'm trying to determine if they are looking proper or if they are being nibbled by something else. So I'll have to investigate that a little bit more. Now I have kept these inside in my sunroom this year because I have done tomatoes outside on the patio, and we get these beautiful tomato bugs. They're basically giant caterpillar looking things, and they are voraciously hungry. So I was hoping to keep these guys inside, but they're on their field trip right now outside. So I'm going to go ahead and move them back to the other side of the table, and then let me just get this guy leaned up here really quick. You can't see what I'm doing, but I have this nice beach umbrella to deflect some of the sunlight so it's not so bright for you and you can see me. And excuse me. And they're leaning on that pole. Okay, so you might also remember I had some parsley plants in small pots, just like the Aloe Pups, and we transplanted them. Now, I probably mentioned when I transplanted them that they seemed to be growing really, really well, and they wanted to be separated 2 by 2, which I did. Look at them doing so well. Now, just like the rosemary though, they are also taking up a lot of space, and that's okay for them to spread out, but I will eventually be transferring each one into their very own pot so they can really, really thrive and get as big and bushy as they'd like within reason. But we also cook with all of these fresh herbs and vegetables, and so like the rosemary that will get used later in the fall, the parsley, there's actually parsley getting used tonight in a dish that one of my daughters is going to cook for us. So I was trimming parsley earlier today, and parsley, in case you don't know, you can see it's kind of flopping over. So those are the outer stems that you want to trim first, and you can see where I had trimmed some before, or some broke off maybe before I even had the plant. So I'm going to trim off the dead stalky stuff, and then if you look, you can see maybe this one a little bit better. You can see where you trim, and then the new growth starts in the middle. Like you can see that one there. This one's really good to see. So you don't want to do too much at once. That's why it's nice to have several plants. So if you have a fresh recipe that calls for a half cup of parsley, you're not cutting all your plants away. So this one has a really nice new growth down in here. So they start in the center. And it really does. I really have found that when you trim off the bits and bobs that are, you know, affecting you, like it's pulling the plant down. You can see it pulling the plant down, right? When you trim off those parts, the whole gets stronger, doesn't it? It really does. So those are some really, really great. That is a half cup. I don't want to trim too much because it's nice to have it fresh. But you can also dry this parsley and use it later as well. So I do have dried basil in my house from my own plants. Very awesome. And it smells amazing. All of these herbs smell so amazing, and it's such a great way to bring some nature inside so that you can enjoy that, whether you may not have green right out your window, but you can still enjoy nature in that way. Okay, so let me move these over a little bit so there's not just plants up in front of the camera. Okay, so I'm going to check really quick, see if there are any other questions right now. What did I do? I'm not seeing any other live questions, but again, feel free to, on replay, post your questions below. I will come back and check them later if there are any and get those answered for you. So, as promised, if you'd like to stick around, I'll let you know a little bit about some upcoming programs and specials going on to help you on your journey to magnetize your true, beautiful magnificence. So this month, I have a limited time special price on my soul contract session. So what is in your soul contract? Well, you may not remember, but everything in your soul contract was agreed to by you, your soul, and your higher self and God while you were in non-physical, before you were transformed to earth, i.e. born as a physical human baby. So while you're living here on earth, you may have found at times that your journey has been challenging or wondrous, or anything in between. And either way or neither way, what's in your soul contract is exactly what you asked for and agreed upon and signed off by God. So with my expanded and evolving soul knowledge, soul knowing, soul contract capability, and through God, I can have a soul connection with you and will flow to you the contents of your soul contract, key milestones within your soul contract, and anything else you may want to know or that flows through. So when you become aware of the contents of your soul contract, especially the key milestones, this helps gain clarity. It helps you gain clarity and connect to your journey with new understanding, and in a way that is truly divinely awesome for you. During your soul contract reading, I will be enabling you to feel the flow of God and His love through me to you, and really feel good during the session. So this session helps awaken your inspiration and continue to energetically expand you and get you further ready for the next segment of your journey, whatever that might be, but it ultimately leads you to true, beautiful magnificence. You'll also have an opportunity to ask me any questions or get any additional guidance that you are wanting. Okay, and then there's something super special coming up in September. I'm not sure if I'll announce it here yet. We'll see what's happening, but I have something super special coming up, and a little mini session ahead of a mini event that is ahead of a really cool launch of a program you're just going to love. All right, so what else is coming up? Later this week, I believe Friday, watch for the event, is part 2 of the 4-part video series of How to Live Your Truths. Watch for the event, that'll come up, and then I'll also be doing another free live guidance Ask Me Anything session on Monday, July 25th. So you can watch for the event there, coming up on Facebook as well. All right, again, any booking links, check the post above, put in the comments below, or DM me if you can't find what you're looking for. You can work with me in group settings, one-to-ones, and if you're not sure which is the right next step for you, you can book a free discovery call with me and we can discover what step is right for you right now. All right, and one last check for questions. No questions, no comments right now, and that's okay. So I want to thank you all for being here, and remember, it is time to transform the next segment on your journey to magnetize your own true beautiful magnificence. And I will see you on Friday for part 2 of How to Live Your Truth series. I'm sending you so much love. Bye-bye.